Hey guys, it's Phantom here, and welcome back to a brand new video, everyone. So today I am bringing all of you another top 5 list, and in today's top 5 I am going to be talking about the top 5 most iconic characters within Wizard101. So these are pretty much characters that I guess kind of throughout the storyline of this game we had spent a lot of time with, and so they kind of just stood out to me in a way, whether it was because of their charm, charisma, any sort of character development that might have had could have contributed to their spot on this list. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So without further ado, everyone, let's get into number 5. Alright everyone, so the first character that is going to be on this list is going to be the character of Ivan from Polaris. So if you guys haven't played through the world of Polaris, you definitely should, just because it's an amazing world in of itself. But anyways, one of the cool quirks about this world is it's got this guy, this little polar bear wrestler dude named Ivan, who pretty much accompanies us throughout most of our quests within Polaris itself. So what I really like about this guy the most is kind of his redemption arc, I suppose, that he has throughout the storyline. You know, when we kind of started the world of Polaris, he was a little bit of a nobody, and he was known as like Ivan the Terrible or something like that. But you know, he had heroism at heart, and you know, in the end of the Polaris storyline, he actually got to prove it to us by accompanying us to the Sky Anchor right here. So this guy, I mean, you know, I don't think he was like that much of a help in the grand scheme of the Polaris storyline, but he was kind of just a fun guy, I suppose, to kind of have around, and I guess it was just fun that like he tagged along. He's got a really flamboyant personality. When thinking about his character, he kind of just sort of strikes me as this Alpha Chad guy who pretty much won't take no for an answer, so I definitely like him very, very much for that. Just definitely a cool, unique, and fun character inside of the Polaris storyline, and I kind of wish we saw more of him in the later worlds, honestly. But anyways, that is pretty much going to be it for Ivan, so let us move on to number 4. Alright, so coming up next on the list is going to be the character of Pork. Now, this guy, very much similar to Ivan, is a character who does definitely a little bit for the plot. They kind of use him to further along the story a little bit, but most of all, he is just a really, really good character and a really, really good addition to the storyline, kind of just almost that cherry on top with the, you know, his dialogue. The visuals, of course, you know, we can't ignore sexy, sexy Pork, but just overall kind of makes the questing experience a bit more worth it, a bit more enjoyable. He really just is a nice little addition, just a funny, quirky character, very, very similar to Ivan, as I had mentioned, that is just really, really enjoyable to talk to, and I suppose just kind of makes you want to do quests for him just because of his, God, when I look into his eyes, just that unrelenting charm that he radiates, it's just absolutely irresistible, at least for me. So Imperia did have a lot of great characters with some great dialogue, but Pork definitely was among, you know, some of my favorites for sure. They had kind of just spent a lot of time with him. I believe his story arc reached all the way into Imperia Part 2, so we got to spend a lot of time with the characters, and it's always when we spend a lot of time with each one of the characters, it's like when you kind of truly get to know them and truly develop a little bit of a connection and attachment towards them, and I can definitely say that that happened with me for Pork. So anyways, let us move on though. That's it for Pork in the Temple of Light here. Let's move on to number 3. I feel like I would have made a lot of people really, really angry if I did not put Mr. Davim Whiteheart on the list of most iconic characters within this game. I mean, this guy, he's been a fan favorite ever since the world of Chrysalis had came out, and yeah, I mean, that opinion definitely resonates with me, as I am definitely one of Davim's admirers, much like probably yourself, the person who's watching this video. But this guy, he is just a great character for so many reasons. I believe we spend most of our time with him in Chrysalis Part 1, and this guy is just, he's an all-around great character. We rescue him from Morganth's Mantis minions. You know, we find out soon enough that he is on our side, that he has a heroic heart, he is courageous, He's just an all-around, well-rounded character that you just love to spend time around, seriously. And then there was, of course, not to mention the whole arc of him getting, like, stung by the broodmother and then being flung out of the tower, where we kind of thought he was, like, dead at first, you know, which was a little bit heartbreaking whenever I watched that sequence, whenever I quest through Chrysalis on a new character. But there was like this whole period where we had to heal him as well, and we didn't know if he was going to make it out or not, but then eventually he was healed, and then we got to go into the final fight of Chrysalis with him. So that was just super, super awesome, as well as the callback when we actually go to the world of Caramel. You know, if you guys don't know, this is actually part of the prerequisite Caramel quest, where you have to come back to Chrysalis and defeat the Shrimpernel, and then Davim, like, helps you locate where he is and stuff. So it's a nice little callback to Davim, as I'm pretty sure KI themselves knows that Davim is a fan favorite, so it was cool that they brought them back there. But overall, Davim is just an amazing character with definitely a rich storyline, and the fact that we got to spend so much time with him in Chrysalis Part 1, and god, his whole arc of just getting hurt, kind of like him just sacrificing himself for us, kind of in a way. It's just, you know, it really just showcases the kind of stand-up guy he is, so that's why he's number 3 on this list. Alright, so coming in at the number 2 spot on this list is going to be the character that I have with me right now. It's going to be Bat, everyone, so I know that you guys probably expected Bat to be on this list. I mean, just the third arc had pretty much demonstrated, at least to me, that Bat was, almost said his name wrong there. Actually, I mean, I did, but I corrected myself. Anyways, though, the third arc has demonstrated really what an iconic character Bat is inside of this game, and of course we didn't actually meet him until a little bit later when that old Cobb storyline was explored a bit more. We actually didn't meet him till Imperia, in fact, so he's still a relatively new character, but really just kind of what was done with him in the story and how they had used him over time, and how, what is he? I don't even know what he's doing right now, but I just love the way they used him, honestly. I love the way that KI used him, where we didn't know if he was good or bad, or we thought he was bad at first, but then he was good, and then he was bad again because he was self-serving in the end, you know, at least to his own goals, which actually turned out to be our goals once we found a different way. Yeah, anyways, it's a little bit complicated here, but the character of Bat is just such an interesting one because he was pretty much born of darkness, kind of similar to his brothers, the Rat and the Scorpion, who are both evil and were both working for Old Cobb when Bat was actually working against him, so it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's a really, really interesting dynamic that Bat has with the Wizard. And I believe that Old Cobb had mentioned something about where it was like, what did he say? It was like, your brothers were born of my nightmares, Bat, but you were my one and only dreams. So even though like Bat was born of Shadow, I suppose he was kind of born with Old Cobb's good intentions at heart, I suppose. It just makes for a really, really interesting character, and the storyline kind of humanizes him as well. I mean, humanizes, whatever definition you want to use, but kind of portrays him with at least like some emotions and morals, as demonstrated by the end of Imperia Part 2, when he actually got his father's approval, like he became emotional and stuff like that. And it's like those little tidbits for me kind of just make a great character in my opinion. So anyways, that's gonna be all for Bat. I will see you guys at number 1. So I know that Malistaire has been on several of my lists, you know, several of my top 5s, top 10s, or whatever regarding characters in this game or storylines or whatever, but I feel like not a lot of people can disagree with me when I say that Malistaire is just most certainly the most iconic person inside of this game. He is the main villain of the first arc, which is kind of, you know, it's like when the game was first picking up, when it was first getting started. Malistaire was kind of just the face of the game. Like he was in essence the icon of this game. So there's a lot of significance in that, in him as a character for me. But another thing that makes him really, really iconic in my opinion is just his dark looming presence that he had pretty much throughout the first arc. It's like when you first kind of start playing this game and you see him in the tutorial, right? Like that is like pretty much the first villain that you see. Like you look at him immediately and you're like, oh, like that's the bad guy. That is the guy that we are going to be fighting for a long time, just facing him throughout all of the different worlds. Like you kind of get that sense immediately, you pick up on that which I think in that regard he is very well done, as well as his storyline. I mean, the storyline with Malister, I've mentioned many times before, is definitely my favorite inside of this game. How he is kind of a madman, but is also... he also has like good, I don't know if it's like necessarily, I don't want to call it good intentions, because he kind of almost destroyed the entire spiral for selfish reasons, but you know, at heart he believed that he was doing the right thing and doing a good thing for his wife, because he did love her, he loved her very much. So it just makes him a really compelling and interesting character, probably the most compelling villain inside of this game for me. And compelling villains for me are always just some of the most interesting characters in literally any given circumstance. So Malister certainly, most definitely, undeniably is going to be the most iconic character within this game. So anyways guys, that is going to be it for the video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed my my takes on each one of the most iconic characters in the game, in my opinion. So if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like or maybe subscribe, and I would love to hear all of your opinions in the comments down below, so don't be afraid to share them. But anyways, that's gonna be all from me, everyone. I will see you guys in the next video or stream, whenever that may be, so take care and peace out, guys.